Hello my friends and welcome to another episode from my Minecraft Survival Let's Play series. Alright guys, in the last episode we came in here and we mapped out this area. Kind of just did a little bit of a general map out, and then we went to the nether and we got ourselves a whole bunch of wither skeleton skulls. Well, 3 to be exact. And then we spent quite a bit of time in the end trying to take down that wither. Which, in the end, we were successful at, have you? So we can now officially build ourselves a beacon. And we're going to start things off fresh in this episode. And we are going to learn from what the mistakes we made there during that wither boss fight. And that was a bit of a steep learning curve for me. But I did learn. And next time, we're not doing that. Anyways, so what is the plan in today's episode? Like I said, we're going to start off by terraforming that area at the new project, and then hopefully get some more laying out of that done. So I have a bit of a confession to make to you guys. So I was attempting to capture the thumbnail for the last episode, and I was in F5 mode, just like how I am right now, trying to get a nice, sweet picture. And I was in the end, and my mind just like completely lapsed on me. And I ended up crashing and dying right on the edge of the end island. And as a result, I actually lost my axe. I got everything else back, but the axe ripped to that. So we're going to have to get ourselves a new one of those at some point in this episode. So let's go ahead and get ourselves that beacon started. We got ourselves some glass and obsidian right over here. And let's build ourselves our first beacon. Boom. Oh, man, that well earned right there, guys. That was like 25 minutes of just sheer frustration and a little bit of terror. But I'm going to go ahead and gather myself up a whole bunch of supplies and shulker boxes, and I will meet you guys back over at the new project. So another funny confession about that little end death thumbnail scenario was that I had sat there and AFK'd at my gold farm because I wanted to build a beacon out of gold, which I'm still quite far away from that. So I lost all my levels in addition to my axe and bed. But I did go through and clean out my gold farm. So here is a quick peek at some of the highlight loot that I got from it. So we should be good on quite a few things for a while. But with that, yes, now actually to the project. Alright, over here at the new project location, and let's get this episode started off right with a nice good old time lapse. So what do you say, guys? Let's speed things up into warp speed and get this thing started. Alright, looks like we're gonna have to stop that time lapse briefly because I have ran out of pickaxes. Still good on the shovel front, but the other pickaxe doesn't have efficiency 5, and I'm not about to slow down on that. So give me a moment, guys. Let me get those tools manned up, and we'll get right back into it. Alright, slowing things back down from warp speed, let's take ourselves a nice quick look at just what we have done here. So I left a bit of the wool in place so we can see just where these mountains were. So let's jump up to the sky. I just removed this one solely just so I didn't have to look at it in the background. I thought it was going to look terrible with all the skyscrapers around there, so I just, trimmed a little off the top. And then I just went for a natural grade kind of over here to kind of smooth things out. Same thing with over there. I don't know if we're going to use all this space, but I just wanted the blocks cleared in case we do. And then you'll see that I also went in there and removed a couple layers of grass. That was literally just so that I would have more grass. There was no point to it because I'm probably just going to build on top of all of this. I just didn't see any use in leaving it under there. I might come back later and dig out the rest of this, but I just wanted to make sure I had enough headroom when I'm below that I can easily dig this out. Right quickly before we jump into the planning out of the building, let's take ourselves a quick little look at what that got all of us. So now we are significantly more on the grass block front as well as the dirt. But where we're really going to see the difference, guys, is up here in the stone department. We're going to end up taking some of it back over because I'm going to terraform the area in stone, but I believe we're somewhere right there. So all of these are now full of stone, as you can see, just stone for days. And then whenever that pickaxe would get low, I'd switch over to the fortune pick, and we are right here on cobblestone. So not nearly as much, but we are definitely going to be good on the stone front, at least until I get this area terraformed. Alright guys, back over to the project. Alright, so before we can start laying out these buildings, I'm going to go ahead and knock out the rest of these chunk borders, and as well as knock out some of these black wool blocks so we can get ourselves down on the level. So let me do that right quick. Alrighty folks, so all of the wool has been removed or dropped down, and yeah, I had a brain fart. So it probably would have been a lot nicer to do like a before map of the area prior to removing all of these blocks, but you know what, we are here now. So I got myself a whole bunch of maps. I'm going to map this out, slap it up here on my rudimentary wall here, and let's take a look at it, guys. Alright, as you can see behind me, the map is made as well as locked in with some glass panes, and you'll also notice that I have another portal. I got tired of flying back and forth because as nice as it is to see our magical village render in, it's a little bit of a flight, so that's all synced up on the roof of Nether with a simple torch path to get us there for now. Okay, now let's gather up some materials and start laying this thing out. So is there any better way to plan out this city than via third-person time-lapse? I don't think so. So basically what we're going to start off by doing is putting in a very, very rough outline of what I want to have the cliff face be. And keep in mind during this entire project, guys, that all of this is strictly just an idea of where I generally want things. None of this is going to be solidified in stone, but we're going to just lay things out so I can get a generalized idea for the shapes and look of what we have going on here. So with most of this cliff laid out here, I'm going to jump on up onto this cliff and take a quick little snooze first of all, and then we're going to plan out this big old, kind of what I was thinking is like a freeway overpass, but I think it would be absolutely awesome if we made it so that when the big old tsunami wave came in here, it knocked out half the city, including the major interstate interchange that we have going on. So I started off with it in this direction, but I thought it was just going to be way too far out into the ocean, so I changed it to make it more of a diagonal direction. And then I'm using black wool to map out the roads just because I thought that would be the best color choice for it. So I wrap it around onto that pillar, and so that way we can get a little bit of different interaction of the interstate with broken off sections. So toss in another one over here, and then we're going to zip on up over yonder and start laying out the generalized grid shape. What I didn't like what I did previously with the layout, is that I did a single wide point for the roads instead of doing a wider section as such. So I think that this version of it is going to help me visualize with the width of the road included when we start putting in the wireframes for different skyscrapers and such. So we're just going to cruise around here and just lay out. None of this, like I said, is solidified in stone. I just wanted to get blocks on the ground to get a general idea. None of this is measured out to be exactly where it's going to be in the final process, because I'm going to come back through most likely between episodes and start the terraforming process and get this to more of a finished grade for this city. So one of the things that I absolutely wanted to include in here, which we'll see when I start putting up the wireframes for the building, is a city or a building at the end of that main road that you saw there, which we will get to shortly. I'm going to continue to lay out that grid shape, and I thought it'd be a really cool idea to have the roads disappear into the cliffs like they were washed out, so that way we can include, the sewer drainage systems and all that have the pipes sticking out, just to really add to that immersion and that post-apocalyptic feel. I'm going to continue to lay out more roads. This is just kind of the drawn out process of what we got going on here, just kind of tweaking it as I see fit to make sure that we can get the rough idea of where we want the buildings and such to be. And kind of the inspiration that I'm going to have is a lot of Pinterest fan art and such of the post-apocalyptic buildings, and the color combination that we will be seeing here in a little bit is that I'm going to be having a blue wool being the actual large skyscraper buildings, as in your office buildings and such, and I'm going to try to include a lot of the major iconic structures throughout our actual world here. So we might have the Empire State Building and a few other very select iconic there I went and I died. That's the downfall of not having feather falling on your boots when you lost them in a wither boss fight, but you know what, easy fix, we're right back into it. But like I was saying, is that I want to have the iconic structures kind of dotted around here, really to add that little bit more of a reference, so that way you guys will be able to tour this world and be like, hey, I recognize this building, this is from my local city, da 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 da. I think that'd be a lot of fun to just add that little bit of iconic structure. So here I tossed in that first blue wireframe, and I was quite happy with the size, so I went in there, resized it, because like I said, and I'll continue to say, that this is all just a very, very rough outline, and none of this can be taken for stone. So we're just going to zip on up here, put in the last little bit of wireframe, and I'm just going to continue to dot around. So moving on, the blue is supposed to be the office buildings and such, and then we're going to make the orange color be residential housing. So we have there a little bit one with a semi-diagonal, and I didn't want this city to be completely grid shape. In Minecraft, it is so easy to fall into that trap of just building everything on a nice, perfect, symmetrical grid. And I didn't want to fall in that. I'm really trying to push the boundaries of myself as a builder here, and because this is 1000% not my style. I always treated Minecraft as being more of a medieval style game, which is very well tailored to be. And so this is going to be quite a push for me. So this is going to be a project that's probably going to be ongoing for a very long time, but I want to make sure that I get as much of this done as possible. I am super motivated right now to get this thing started, and like I said in the previous episode, I want to include various farms in here of the TNT sort. So we need to make sure that we include those within this, and of course make it to where we're not actually blowing up anything of the building as we go. So we'll have to keep all that in mind however we need to. So I'm going to continue to just dot in a little bit of structures around here, like I said, keeping in sync with the color coding. And the last color that you'll see me add in here in a little while will be the yellow. And that's going to stand for buildings that I want to have ruined, in the sense that those ones are going to be taking the hardest impact, and you'll see like halves of them missing or major chunks torn out of them from this post-apocalyptic feel, whether it be from actual being left alone because the society has left it, or from the actual event of the tsunami that took out this city. So there we can see that first structure built up right on the cliff face. I thought that was seemed quite fitting to have that thing. We can maybe make like half of the building missing so you could really see the inside. That'll be one that I'll have to take the time to properly detail out an interior, so when you're looking at it from that bay, you'll be able to really see in there, and it'll sell that immersion feel of this thing being a true livable city up until the point of that catastrophic event. So we'll pop in that one wireframe, and then I decided to go ahead and modify that one over there to be more of a quad structure, and one of which is going to be a heavily damaged thing. So that way that whole street just looks like it fell away into the bay. And we're going to include a little bit of debris in the bay is my plan. But like I said earlier, this is going to be a ongoing process. I don't foresee myself knocking this thing out in like 2 episodes or anything like that. I can guarantee you guys that I might get more, burnt out on it, so I'll probably start other projects. The other project that I am talking about right now is that I want to transform the spawn. So when you first jump into this world, you are going to be like really just taken aback from it. And it's something I want to surprise you with later on, but I'm thinking a big old huge like terraforming project. So this that other structure that I had mentioned earlier right at the end of the street is what we see getting put in right now. It's actually the only building that I have currently up in my creative testing world, and that'll probably be the first building that's going to go in here. So you see I modified the street to try to wrap around it more to keep in sync with the shape of the building, because I want this city to be very organic and to follow the layout of these structures instead of trying to make it feel forced into that shape. So we'll see me drop in that last little wireframe and I think 2 or 3 more structures, and that's really about all I got the motivation to work on right now. This video has taken a very long time, guys. So I do apologize. I've tried to keep myself on track here. But like I said, this was a huge project to try to knock out all of this and get this all put together for you. So I would heavily appreciate you if you guys took the time to give this video a like and a subscribe, because in the end I'm doing this for you guys. I have a whole nother world that I built a long time ago that we might actually view here soon, but I wanted to build this all with you guys. So I would heavily appreciate, like I said earlier, if you guys would subscribe to the channel, give this video a like, and so that way I can continue to put this out to entertain you guys, because this is something that I always wanted to do, and I'm so glad that I did finally get the opportunity to start creating these YouTube videos and really put myself out here. Because at the end of the day, excuse me, as I want to increase my skills as a builder as well as a commentator, and I really want to put myself out there. So I'm tossing in these last couple structures here, and then we are going to most likely finish out the rest of this episode trying to get our gear back up to that full netherite feel. So alright guys, let's zip in here and knock out this last little bit here and take a look at our map, and then we'll get right back into it, guys. Okay folks, as promised, we are going to end this episode off right with get ourselves some ancient debris mining. Got myself all suited up, got a whole bunch of fire resistance and TNT. So what do you say? Let's go blow some stuff up in the nether and end this episode off with a bang. so much better. Alrighty folks, that's going to have to conclude today's episode. As always, I do hope that you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one, everyone.